is, I don't even know what day it is. I stopped counting. But it is January 17, 2017 is the year. And there isn't any update with my court case other than we waived our rights to a speedy trial. And because I hired new counsel, they're giving her time to prepare, but there's still I'm going to call it a semi-trial, but I know that's not the right word, and then we go to trial. And so those dates have been moved to February 9th and February 25th, or 22nd. And in that time, I know that she's got some plans. Once she gets familiar, she's going to reach out to the DA, and we are actually in talks back and forth, and she's getting up to par on that. So feeling very good about this attorney. I want to, and my head is getting back in the game. I'm getting requests for real estate, going on appointments, doing networking, and getting myself back to what feels normal to me, even though my business is not nearly back to normal by far. So in the process of reflection and looking back, want to just share some thoughts and insights. This video might be a little bit longer, but a lot of it has to do with knowing that a woman or somebody is going through this. How are some ways that they can feel supported or heard or helped during this time? And first and foremost, it is just having somebody who listens, so that they can feel like they're being heard. So when they say something, to repeat back, paraphrase what you've heard them say back is very important. Safety is very important, because the first little bit over a month, I was still renting my old place, and I was not feeling very safe, so I wasn't sleeping very good at night. And so being able to get a basic need of feeling safe, shelter, protection is very important when somebody is going through a crisis or an abuse situation, because you're already off kilter and not feeling safe with your thoughts and what this person might do to you. So being able to secure safety is so important, because even after I was able to move into my new townhouse and I had a really good security system, there were still times where I would hear a noise and I would get on my app and I wanted to see the cameras and look at the pictures to make sure I wasn't seeing somebody climb through a window, because our brains our brains are really powerful and can control how you go through an experience, and really weigh in on your emotion. And the thing that weighs out or evens out emotion is logic. And so being able to pick up a phone, on my phone I have the app for my security system, and be able to look at the cameras, to be able to push a panic button, to be able to know if a door or window is open at any time or if one was left open is very important. And I want to, after this hits mainstream and gets the attention that it needs to get, I want to make sure that the CKRET Foundation starts, and maybe it will be just through my business or the referral business of my real estate, that it donates to the CKRET Foundation. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but for minimal cost, I'm going to get with the security companies, and once a client is referred, they get a security system installed and no cost to them, because that is when I was able to finally sleep all night and let my body heal and my mind recharge, that I was able to get my feet underneath me and handle this situation in a way that I would be proud of. So having that, also, walking through this process, having grown up in an abusive situation with a mother who is a narcissist, going on to marry and have children with somebody who was a narcissist, and I repeated that cycle. I have learned some new terms and things that I need to work on, and it's beautiful, because up to this point now I'm making a conscious choice of learning, but up to this point it's universal knowledge, being able to tap into that and help it guide me right exactly where I need to be, and learning it at the right time. I feel like I'm a kid all over again, because I was very codependent in my relationships, and part of what made me so codependent is I didn't have these boundaries. That not only did I not know the boundaries, I didn't have any boundaries, but then once you do have boundaries, being able to spot when people aren't respecting them and they're stepping over the line into, I don't even know where they're stepping in the line now. When I see somebody doesn't respect my boundaries, I just enforce them and leave them there. They definitely don't get to get any closer to me. So it has been an amazing process to walk through, and even examining my own understanding of the situation and letting anger go and just welcoming the lessons that I'm being taught right now is just really quite amazing. And through this through this awakening process and sharing my videos and becoming more of a advocate for bringing awareness to domestic abuse, this domestic abuse is something that within one generation we could absolutely have under control, because this is something that is taught, and it is something within 1 to 2 generations that can completely be gone. And is it an overnight light switch? No, it's not, but it is not even got the light turned on in it yet. And with my old attorney, you know, when I was told by her that I don't really look, you know, I don't look like an abused woman. I don't give the vibes off of being an abused woman. And I'm sure coming from somebody who has never been abused, perhaps I don't. But, you know, part of me being so strong and steadfast in my outlook is because for so long I wasn't heard, and I didn't have a voice, and I wasn't able to speak up. That when I found it, it's not a very easy thing to go back to being quiet. And so I'm sure to some people that will come across as being strong. For me, I believe it's not a matter of being strong. Even going through this process, when people ask how, you know, somebody had said 99.9% of the people who are going through what I'm going through wouldn't be able to go through it the way I'm going through it. And I think I don't agree. I think that those are the people who haven't found their voice yet. And they would go through it the way I'm going through it once you find your voice, because you just can't go back. Once your mind expands with knowledge, you can't unlearn that. You can't undo that. And so knowing if that truly is the truth, then I got a lot of work to do on helping people find their voice, and find their voice in a way that is healthy and productive. And then even with doing that, there's a responsibility of making sure that as the impact increases, then I am being responsible with it. So I am myself, I've got a person that I've met that I want to hire as a coach. It's really funny, that quote, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. And this is somebody that's got an incredibly deep spiritual understanding of life. And there's a few areas that he is going to help guide me through. And I know that as I go to those areas, I'm not scared to go to those areas, but they're areas that I don't have a whole lot of experience with, how to deal with anger. It's not, I mean, I saw how you don't deal with it because I got beat and stuff growing up, but I was never taught exactly how to deal with it. So what I do when I feel anger is I just know to breathe a little bit, but I don't ever work through and let myself feel the feeling, truly feel the feeling. I will deny it, but I don't feel it. And so learning some different ways to get caught up and kind of clean the slate of, and it's not any, you know, it's not any, I don't have any hard feelings, I don't have any hostility, but I still need to work through those emotions. And then the other is visiting with my children, because when I look back on when I raised them, why I never beat them or touched them, I didn't necessarily teach them how to deal with anger. And they didn't see me, you know, hey, listen, I need a little time in my bedroom, and to go in there and cry, or to punch a pillow, or to just scream or jump or go to the gym and jog because you've got this extra energy in your body. I didn't show them any of this. So I'm interested in I have to go there first and learn it so that then I can have these conversations with my children, because the last thing I would ever mean to do is ill-equip them, but I already have. And so even though you love your children with all the love in the world, there's never one perfect way to raise them. And I think that them seeing me being willing to be coachable and teachable, and then also humble enough to go back and apologize to them and let them know what I want to teach them is pretty big stuff. And it's one of those areas that is a very, I mean, I feel like a second grader trying to deal with it, because they don't have a lot of experience with how do you handle anger healthy. I just didn't. It was not an area, it was not a feeling, but that I wanted to deal with, but now I know it is one that I've got to go to. Because when you look at how this whole situation started with Anthony, it was because I felt violated and I was upset because I had fled my house because I was feeling threatened, I was scared, and he kept attacking me. And through that process, I had opened up the window that had my kids on it that he ended up sending the half-nude picture of me to, or I was nude, I was fully nude from behind. And while his actions weren't justified, how I chose to handle the anger or feeling threatened isn't either. So I need to take a look at my actions, because the last thing I want to do is repeat that cycle again. So it has been a really eye-opening journey, and the cleansing out of people who the best way I want to describe it is kind of, you looked at our planets, our solar system, and I'm the sun. The planets that are in orbit are our relationships that we have, and the people who aren't walking the walk get farther away from my orbit. They're not going to get very close. And it has been very interesting. I thought I had very strong boundaries, but now that I'm enforcing them, because these people who weren't there for me, who I felt should have been there, because I was willing to run into a burning house for them, now that I've got them in the proper position for our relationship, they want to come back and be right next to me again, and that's not allowed, because the actions don't match the words. And what I was doing before was believing a lot of the words, because that's what I don't give my word without meaning it. My actions match, but that doesn't mean that everybody does. And so when I'm going to evaluate another person's relationship with me, the actions are the first thing that I'm going to be looking at to see, do the actions match the words, and even if they don't have any words, what are their actions? So this has been a pretty neat process. I don't wish to go through it again. It's not something that I would wish on my biggest enemy or anybody else, actually. Well, I mean, it just depends on the way you look at it, because if you were ready for it and you can handle it, then yes, because I know that coming out the other end, I'm only going to be that much better. So I wanted to share this update with you. My daughter has been staying a lot more at her dad's house, and that's okay. She's trying to even out her life also and find some kind of normal. And I know how I first went about trying to get her to come around was probably not right, because I was just panicking and missing her, and I threatened to turn her phone off and take her car back, and these are all things that I felt I'd given those to her because as my daughter, those are the things I want to be able to stay in touch and all of this. But I also know that the last thing I want to do is not respect her boundaries and try to use things to control her, and that's not healthy either. So anyways, that's the update for today. I don't expect any changes anytime soon, but I'm going to keep posting these videos, and we'll see where it goes. Bye.